I'm here with Vernor.
You're here? I'm Chop Liver? You know, you did that with Charlie.
I was about to say I'm here with Chop Liver.
That's very good. Say that we're here.
You're right.
I'm here with my brother Ann. No, you did that with Charlie.
Well, why don't you point it out and then say cut, and then I could have done it that.
Because I'm just kind of exhausted, and I'm up for like 15.
I'm exhausted as you are.
27 hours straight, you know, my
So
brain
you just say and then I do.
I'm just saying, I've noticed it now. Oh, no, just go.
Okay. I'm here with... We're here with five-time Hugo Award winner Vernor Vinge, myself and Eitan, to talk about Vernor's work that he's doing now and possibly what's coming up and what's coming out. Mr. Vinge, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure.
So what are you working on? What's coming out? What's going on?
I am working on a sequel titled Children of the Sky. That is a sequel to A Fire Upon the Deep. And it's a sequel in the usual sense. That is, it takes place about 5 or 10 years after the end of A Fire Upon the Deep, and it takes place on the world of the times. And it has most of the same characters, just a few years older.
And so this would be what number in the series? This would be number 3?
Of novels about the zones of thought, that universe, it would be the third novel. There is a novel that I wrote about 70,000 words on and got bogged down in, that is in this future. And there also is a published novelette in this future.
And when is this book coming out?
Hopefully sometime next year.
Got it. So it has yet to be delivered, but
that's true.
Got it. Understood. Can you tell us a side question? I found your Hugo Award-winning Rainbow's Edge.
Rainbow's End.
Sorry. Cut. We'll put that back. I found your Hugo Award-winning Rainbow's End. I would kill him, but we're on tape. I found your...
You could edit out when you kill him.
Anything. Oh, we can edit it. Or that'll be the good part. That'll get the ratings. I found your Hugo... I'm going to slap you. I found your Hugo Award-winning Rainbow's End quite fascinating, and I was wondering, was it mainly imaginative that you simply extrapolated from what you saw today, or where did you get some of those ideas about sort of the layering onto the iris of these virtual worlds with reality? Beautifully woven.
I have friends who actually make some of that sort of gear, and have been talking about it for years, and have enormous lists of consequences. And I have my own opinions about how certain things are going. And I took all of that and just spun out what seemed to be a very plausible and fairly conservative view of the future. And that part of it actually should have been very easy, and was relatively easy, except for the fact that, as with any near future science fiction, you're being trumped and outmaneuvered by the pace of real events. I write quite slowly, and it was, in my case, an especially serious problem because I was getting trumped by future events before I'd even finished the manuscript. You know, I'm revising the manuscript as I'm writing it as the future insinuates itself under my feet.
Right, Eitan and I barely managed to clip out before it went to final to galleys. We had President Winfrey as the first black president, and you know, nobody saw President Obama coming, so we quickly had to edit that out. But yes, that is the danger of the near future. Eitan, did you have any questions for Mr. Vinge?
Yeah, it's the concept of...
You've got to speak louder because you've got a name.
Yes, it's the concept of wearable computers and overlay. It's just an interesting thing. Do you think that people would be truly able to function where they're observing nothing but a Victorian England reality around them, or a anime reality around them, or a ancient Greece reality around them? Do you think society would really be able to function, or we had something basically called virtual reality index, where when it got a little bit too real, things started to fall apart? And I thought you were getting close to that line where people could live in a fantasy world, and that could just be tough.
The use of the technology in the story was such that only extremists would be doing what you're talking about. We always have extremists the people who want to have total overlays on everything. Now, they would still agree with you on where the surface of the wall was, but whether the wall was plaster or stone or whatever, that would be a difference. There are lots of uses for overlays that are really only partial. For instance, the people who do building maintenance could probably see into the walls and see the plumbing, whereas you would not be interested, presumably, in that. So those sorts of partial overlays are just a way of doing one's job better by seeing those parts of reality that are important to your particular goals.
Now, have you ever thought of doing a short story in that universe that takes place at a science fiction convention? Because imagine what you could do with the ability to overlay in a science fiction convention.
The mundanes would not be grossed out at all. There would just be these people that seem to have vision problems a little bit sometimes and persistently avoid certain blank spots on the floor.
Will the John Carter visuals please go to the right? Will the John Carter visuals please go to the right? Will the Hylinian please?
And no one else can hear those announcements.
Except, I mean, would you even need to have a science fiction convention? What would it look like? What would it be like? Lord,
well, isn't that interesting? Because science fiction conventions really are about birds of a feather. You know, in the outside world, everybody thinks we're kind of odd and strange. We're in our books and in our worlds, and here we get to come together and sort of share that. So it's interesting.
But if you had a rainbow's end ability, would it be? Could you even have?
I'm positing that people come here to be together, so it would almost necessarily push them apart.
It seems to me that if physical meetings would probably still be of interest at the level of technology you was in. At a science fiction convention, you could literally have different tracks, and so I could see subdivision. In other words, you have consensual realities. You have multiple concurrent consensual realities.
That's a good sign.
And multiple concurrent consensual realities are really kind of a strange idea. They could be. I talked to one fellow who I've talked to some people that regard it as it could be disconcerting. Like if you're around somebody who is acting like they're seeing something that isn't there, there's just something mildly concerning about it. On the other hand, just look at cell phones and the impact of cell phones. People are going to have to get used to people talking to the air and the air. And
schizophrenic's best friend. Best friend.
And we're already there. I mean, because you run into all sorts of people who are mumbling to themselves, and they're perfectly rational. You just can't hear the other side of the conversation. So a conversation such as we are having, and this happened in Rainbow's End, but it's very hard to represent typographically. For instance, you two could be engaging in chit-chat about the interview or whatever. At the same time that you're talking to me and I'm talking to you. And I could actually have somebody a whole body person, that neither of you can see. And you're not aware that I'm talking to him at all and that actually he is seeing both of you. So there are these multiple layers of invisible friends.
Me not think clear.
All right, well, you know, when Eitan and I were at Mile High Con last year, they rented out the top of the hotel, which used to be a restaurant, and they turned it into Hogwarts. And it looks very Hogwartian. Lots of deep woods, and they cover the paintings. And so, you know, to a certain extent, you can see that people would choose during this convention to live in certain realities for maybe certain periods of time.
Not only during the convention.
Well,
oh, yes.
Obviously, yes.
Right.
That's the
fandom is a way of life in a way
yes.
that it's never
Well,
been.
once it can become a way of life, as Vernor was saying, you know, some people will choose to do that. Okay, thank you very much,
thank you.
Vernor, for being with us on NeverEndingPanel.com. We really appreciate you taking the time out.
Much appreciated.
Thanks.